This is an interesting one. I don't even like Kamala, but I would vote for her 100 times before I would even think of voting Trump. This is the interesting thing to me about her and Joe Biden. For the past, I don't know how many primaries now, 3 primaries since 2016, I didn't vote for Hillary. I voted for Bernie Sanders in 2016 in the primary. In 2020, I voted for Bernie Sanders. I would have voted for Elizabeth Warren, but she had dropped out by that time. And of course, this time around, I had no choice. It was just Joe Biden on the ticket. And I voted because that's what you do if you're a responsible, civic minded person. Like, none of these people are my first choices. Kamala Harris is not progressive enough for my tastes, but you have 2 choices. So I agree with the second half of this thing. Like, I'd vote for 100 times before I'd ever think about voting for Trump. I don't think I would even think about voting for Trump. But like, she's growing on me this week, especially. And I think the thing about her, which is also true about Joe Biden, is that even though their politics are not my politics because they are much more centrist than I could ever be, they do show an ability to be persuaded, to bring progressives into their umbrella, to talk to them, to be a voice in there. They don't always go vote the way I want to. Obviously, just look at Israel and Gaza. They're not taking on the progressive talking points at any point here, but they'll listen. They are not in ideological bubbles when it comes to that stuff. And to that end, you know what? I'll be a Kamala stan if I need to. She has time to get really good at this really fast, and she's going to need those progressive voters. And there are very simple ways to win them over. So I hope she does that. I think it was smart to wait until after the GOP nomination of Trump. The GOP wasted all their time bashing Biden. Yeah, I don't know if that was a coincidence or not, but it's funny. It is funny that the GOP like spent all this time trashing Biden. Then they get to their convention and they actually downplayed Biden. They didn't talk about him much at all. And then they nominated JD Vance for vice president, who is the worst pick if you're trying to get a larger slice of the electorate. And then after they do all of that, Biden, coincidentally or not, figures out, you know what? I'm done now. I'm going to go. So, like, glorious. Timing was flawless at that point. 2 questions. Who do you want Kamala to pick as her running mate, and who will she end up picking? There is an embarrassment of riches right now because a lot of the names on the short list, I like a lot of them. Like Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, he's growing on me. He's awesome. He looks old, but he's like Kamala Harris's age. But I like him. Super progressive, has done so much with a very slim majority in Minnesota. He's great, and he has like no name recognition outside of his state. So he's the sort of person that when you hear him talk, you will like him a lot. Pete Buttigieg, on the other hand, is someone who talks a great game, but everyone kind of knows who he is. I don't know if you make any gains with him, even though I like him by and large. Love Gretchen Whitmer. I don't know that they would choose 2 women on the ballot. I mean, I wish that wasn't true, but like, I think that's the thing she has going against her, but she's awesome. I live in Illinois. JB Pritzker has been fantastic. Like, you get a billionaire governor, you don't expect much, but like, he's been awesome for us. I don't want him to leave, but like, he would be fine. Not as smooth of a talker as some of these other people, but he'd be great. I've heard Josh Shapiro and Mark Kelly from Arizona as like high up on the short list. They have their problems. They are more to the center than I would like. They have certain issues that alienate me, but none of them are deal breakers in the sense that I'd be like, what? You nominated that VP? Well, I'm not voting at all. Like, they'd be fine. But again, all of these people are like all decent candidates for the role. They would all be really, really good. Who will she end up picking? I feel like she's leaning towards either Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, or Mark Kelly from Arizona, because they're governors or senators of swing states, and you want to win over those states. But if you're going to play that game, go with Whitmer. Like, why not? I don't think it's anyone I haven't mentioned yet. I would be shocked if it's anyone I have not mentioned at this point. But again, this is a fun thing to debate because I'm not going to be upset if she chooses any of those people, they all have their benefits. You know what I mean? So I also really like the fact that her campaign seems to be leaning in hard, not on let's protect democracy, which is true, and Biden was doing that, but on all these right wing Republicans are like silly, weird freaks, which is absolutely the way you should hammer them because they're all like these alpha males who can't handle people laughing at them, mocking them. They always want to be like leading the conversation. So they lie about Democrats. So now what have you seen all week? It's just mockery of their horrible positions. You know, JD Vance loves his couches, things like that. Like it's silly, but man, it takes a lot of attention away from whatever it is they're saying. It's fantastic.